Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April Zoning Board meeting. The way we do this is we will go through the agenda. We have 11 items today. The applicants will be heard. The public will be heard. We will close the public hearing for that application, and then when we get through all the agenda items, we will then vote at the end of it all. So let's start, as we usually do, with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, when you're called up, if you're an applicant, you do not have to sign in. If you are speaking on an application, you will have to sign in. There are pens there. And speak into the microphone so everyone can be heard. Okay, application number 1, holdover application. The application of Robert Altero for a variation of section 156-15, seeking a variance for permission to retain gazebo and legalized room above garage. The property is located at 3 Curry Spur, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 53.12-1-17. The code requires a 10-foot rear for the gazebo. What's provided is 2 feet, so the variance requested is 8. The code requires 25-foot front for the garage. What is provided is 0 over the property line, and the variance required is 25. This has been on once or twice before. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. I'm William Besharat, representing the Alteros on this case.
Raise your right hand, please, Willie. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
There is a new developments, positive developments on this. You know, this has been delayed because we were trying to get the agreement written between the 2 owners on the existence of the garage and from one property onto the other, the 2-foot portion of it, whatever. And the surveyor, Eric Link, had a hard time finding it because when they got the deed for the Del Duca next door and they got the description of their property, it did not include Curry Spur or the portion of the right-of-way in front of them. And after deep research, and Mr. Del Duca finally came up with a subdivision map that was done and filed back in 1979, not that long ago, and that has all the information. With that said, the description was able to be written, the agreement has been reached, and the attorney is working on filing the perpetual agreement for the garage to exist on the property. We have a description here. I would like to give the board copies of it, of the
Okay, let the record reflect that we were provided Linkland Surveyors, PC, dated April 15, 2024, easement description for existing garage and driveway.
Okay, and I'm sure the board is familiar with the status of what we're doing. We've been here a few times already, and I'm hoping that this will be it. At this stage, you know, just to summarize, we look to legalize the existing gazebo and the existing garage with the room that was that's above it. The everything is existing and nothing is proposed. We could not be located somewhere else where it does not need a variance. There are no property available to purchase and make this go away. The lots in that area, they're all tiny and tight, and I'm sure they all have the same scenario. So this property is really in conformity with the neighborhood, and the existence or the granting of this variance will not create a hardship on anybody in the neighbors, the immediate or the ones across the street. With that said, I'm going to ask the board if they can entertain this for tonight, and hopefully we'll be able to act on it prior to the submission or prior to the filing of the agreement, even if the board, you know, feels they're going to grant the approval conditional to the filing of the agreement. We also have no objection to it.
Well, I think the last few times that we were here, it was, we needed to have that agreement. We needed to have that
Correct.
filing in the court.
All right?
I was kind of hoping you were going to say, can we have another month? So, Greg, is that something that we can do, is condition?
You can put any reasonable condition on a variance that you deem appropriate.
But it would be conditional upon this agreement being filed.
Being executed
Yes.
and filed in land records. Yeah.
But why would you do that, if you don't mind me asking?
Right, no, I understand, I totally agree, and I don't know how the
It's
board
a
is
month.
feeling.
You're gonna do,
Right,
No, I'd rather do one.
yeah,
that's
I
legit
think so.
film.
You know what, as you could see, I think the board is against doing that.
We have no objection
That's
to
fine.
it. I'm just
All right.
trying to save time with the board. You know,
All
we
right.
we
No,
can
it's
wait,
appreciated.
we waited this long, one
It's
more
been a
month,
while,
they're
I
gonna
know,
hurt
I know.
anybody.
So, another month,
We'll see you in May.
we'll see you in May, okay,
All
so
right.
can I get a motion?
Thank you for your time, and hopefully by then, once we get it filed, I'll give it to Rose or Dawn
Great.
and have it already on file.
Okay, so the
All right.
motion to hold over by Rose,
Second.
seconded by Silvio, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank
Always
you,
like
have a
seeing
nice
you.
evening.
Bye, Willie.
Let's save this one. Okay, application number 2. Application of Thomas Simone for a variation of section 156.15 and 156.47A1, seeking a use variance for permission to retain deck. The property is located at 9 Batista Drive, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 75.16-1-30. The code requires 25 foot for the front. What is provided is 23 feet to the steps. The variance requested is 2 feet. And there's a 10-foot requirement to the side. What is provided is 0.5 feet, or a half a foot, and the variance requested is 9.5 feet. Hello again. Raise your right hand, please. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Tom Simone. My address is number 9 Batista Drive, Mahopac, New York. And when I was here last time, I know that I had to come up with a little paperwork from my neighbor. So the attorney was nice enough to draft up a boundary line declaration. Do you guys have this now?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah, we're
what
in
you-
receipt of
Okay,
that,
great,
Tom.
great.
Yeah, part
My
of the
neighbor-
file is a boundary declaration from
Yeah.
Anthony Cadlick, dated April 25th, 2024.
Yep. Yeah, yeah. And he was fine with everything. It was tough getting him to actually do it because he lives in the city. He spends a lot of time in Philadelphia. So he was nice enough to actually make a special trip up here yesterday for me to get all the paperwork in order, so on and so forth. And I actually submitted it today. So you guys probably got it today. But yeah, he was fine with it. It's not an issue. And it was never an issue, but I understand. I'm glad that it worked out the way it worked out. And it's nice to have all the paperwork where it needs to be. So right now, I'd love to proceed so I could get a deck permit. I want to do some improvements on my deck, so on and so forth. And, you know, that's probably going to take me just a couple of months. But I'll be involved with, obviously, the building inspector and everything on all that. So at this point, if you guys would give me your blessing, that would be wonderful.
Well, let's see if we have any questions. Yeah, John, do you have any questions?
No, we reviewed this case with Mr. Simone, and that came up where we were over the property line. We have the
Right.
letter declaring 1 foot, 3.5 inches over, and I have no further questions.
Okay, Rose?
Greg, have you seen this? Are you okay with it?
Yes, I have, and it appropriately deals with the permission to have the structure on the neighbor's property, which, for your purposes, it's going to be a 0 variance that you're considering, and then the encroachment is permitted.
Yes.
Any questions?
Great.
Okay. Bill? William?
No questions.
Julie?
No questions.
Silvio?
One question, now that what Greg said, he said, he needs to have a 0
There you go.
Variance, we advertised half an inch. I don't want to cut, I don't want
It's
to cut
not a
corners for
negative.
half an inch, but is that okay? Half a foot, sorry, half a foot.
Yes, he needs to amend his application.
Okay.
So he could do that now,
No, he has to
Do it
react.
initially, yes.
right?
But it's more, not less. That's where I was going with this. It has to be
Setback to the
advertised.
neighbor is obviously okay with them.
That's true, because we have a
But
sworn
the
statement.
use variance issue hasn't been addressed yet, so I don't know what you guys want to do with that.
All right, so we have a use variance as well.
If it's an expansion of the use, as we discussed at
Two
the last meeting.
different things. The notice has .5 when
Right.
it's really a 0.
Right.
But for the purposes of that application, the encroached upon neighbor has consented to an overline encroachment.
So that cleans
I
it.
would say that Mr. Simone could
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
physically amend his application tonight.
Okay.
And then, yeah, just so
Initial
you
to
have
file.
it as
I
a
just,
0.
I just wanted to make sure everything is okay so it doesn't blow up in our faces. That's all I was looking for.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah, he seems.
Yeah, yeah, that's
everything
fine.
Seems to fit pretty good at this point.
All right, then, I'm okay. I just because you said that with the 0, I went, wait, whoa.
Generally, if we don't have the letter in the file, you are 100% correct.
Okay, I'm fine. I have no other questions.
Okay, so we will amend to taking out the .5 and just making it, making it a 0. I got it. Okay, sir, so if you could come up here?
You want me to come up there?
Yes, please.
Cross out the point, cross out the
Make it
point 5, make it
0.
a 0, and initial it.
And the other one has to be made 10.
Yes. Yeah, because if we didn't do that right, then it goes to, right, goes to title and all hell breaks loose. Right,
Permit can't be issued.
that's right.
All right, so does anyone from the public want to be heard on this application? All right, can I get a motion?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second?
Seconded by Julie, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys very much, I appreciate it.
Appreciate
And
you.
Also, thank you, Town
Good luck,
Attorney.
Mrs. Swan.
Have a great evening, everybody.
You too. Okay, new applications. Number 3, bless you. The application of Joseph Guevarez for a variation of Section 156-15, seeking a use variance for permission to install a residential ground-mounted solar array on lot with non-conforming use. The property is located at 56 Hill Street, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map 75.6-2-25. We have a whole lot of people here.
Yeah.
All right, so who's going to be speaking for,
I don't think they're all applicants, so.
Well, the three of us are with Empire Solar Solutions, the company.
okay. All right, so let's get the homeowner applicant up first. Raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Okay, speak up loud into the mic, please. You could turn it, you could move that mic around if you need to. All right, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Joseph Guevarez. I live at 56 Hill Street, Mahopac, New York, 10541.
All right, and sir, why don't you come up also, raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Patrick Canty. I'm with Empire Solar Solutions at 2-8 Jones Street, Newburgh, New York.
Okay, and you're the one that's going to be presenting for the applicant?
Yes, I'm going to be leading.
Okay,
And make sure you sign in when you're done.
yes,
Okay.
please, when you're done.
Sure. So yes, we are seeking a variance for a ground-mounted solar array. It is going to be 32 panels, and we have it marked out so that is properly situated within his property with the proper setbacks from every property line. The reason that we had to do a ground-mounted solar array is because his roof did not have the proper clearance for us to situate the necessary panels to meet his energy usage on the roofs while still meeting fire setbacks and just general roof, space. But mainly this fire, we'd have to really encroach upon all the fire setbacks to even get close to it. So that is why we're requesting the variance.
Okay. Michael, why are we here?
There are 2 one-family dwellings on the lot, so it's an expansion of a non-conforming, or you should determine if it's an expansion of the non-conforming use.
Oh.
So,
Is this like a garage, or is this like a deck, or is this, changing a power system on a 2-family house? That's up to you. You have to determine if that's an expansion of the non-conforming.
And this is a use variance for the property, not for the solar array.
That's correct.
Okay.
You determined already that solar on the ground, if it meets the setback, does not need a variance. That was an interpretation of this board.
That's right.
Okay, thank you. All right. John, any questions?
Yeah, just, Pat, you mentioned it could not be mounted on the roof since it didn't have enough square foot area to meet the kilowatt demand.
Yes. So we were able to get about 20 panels onto the roof before our proposed design.
Actually, it was 16.
No, no,
I have
no.
to swear you.
If you're,
You gotta talk.
go to the mic. Turn the mic to your face. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
Courtney Roberts from Empire Solar Solutions, 2-8 John Street, Newburgh, New York, 12550.
And also, when you leave, please sign the sheet. Okay,
Got
so
it.
what are we going to say?
So there was actually a mistake when we did the roof layout. There was a 3-foot setback that was missing, so unfortunately, it dropped down to 16 panels that we were able to fit. Yes, these ones had, yeah. We fixed that, so.
And you're looking at 32 panels, right?
We're looking to install 32 on the ground, correct?
So, as far as the power that you're looking to acquire through the panels, you didn't have the space on the roof? Or am I looking at two roofs here? On the driveway to the, if that's the east, is that another dwelling?
The second house
Yeah,
is,
on the driveway in his property
Oh,
line.
you mean this?
Oh,
oh,
The shed.
the shed.
the shed.
Yeah, that's a shed. We could fit maybe 3 maximum. Because we don't put panels on the north roof, it doesn't get production.
Right. Only the south. What does it produce? A month? Just, I mean, how many kilowatts does that
So
produce?
the system is sized out for 13.21 kilowatts. So in a year, that is typically, man, I don't have the numbers in front of me. It's contract for 17,000 kilowatts a year, kilowatt hours a year.
So from that location on his property, that's gonna be all underground work going over? Like, it's all underground?
Yeah, we're going out to dig a trench to connect the array to his main meter on his house. But once the trench is done, it's not going to be visible. It's just going to look like
Oh, yeah.
there's the panel and then there's the house. You'll be able to walk over it. It'll just be land.
No further questions.
Okay, Rose?
How close are you to the closest house, would you say?
So we are, here, wait, let me just pull up the survey.
And when you mean house, you mean not on that property?
Not your houses, other people's
Oh.
homes. Other people's homes.
It's stapled into this one, right? They want the array to the next closest.
The array to the closest house? Go from the north.
Okay, so let's see, from the north, it is, let's see, 49 feet and 1 inch from the north property line, which is then,
And then the next house has their entire backyard between them. I don't know the square.
yeah, we didn't take measurements of neighbors' properties.
So you'd say about 49 feet to the nearest home
Yeah,
the nearest
the nearest
property
property
line.
line.
or property?
And then probably, I don't have the measurements for the property line to the next closest house.
Okay. So, do I understand this correctly? There are 2 residential homes on this property?
Yes, yeah.
So the
two.
larger home can accommodate on that roof?
One,
The, right, the larger home can accommodate panels on the roof?
So they have two separate meters.
Okay.
So for us to put his main house roofs on, panels on a whole nother roof that he's technically not living in, and then you'd be trenching to his main meter.
So he owns both pieces of property, correct? Both homes?
Yes.
You
It's one
own
piece of
both
property.
homes, but you live in the smaller house.
Correct.
So you can't put the panels on the smaller house.
Yeah, the smaller house is, you can't get enough panels on the smaller.
Just make
house.
sure you're speaking to the microphone,
Yeah.
sir. Sorry.
Yeah,
Just
you-
because they're recording.
From my understanding is that we can't get enough solar panels on the smaller house, which is the cottage that I currently live in, to produce enough electricity, that I'm currently using.
Do you plan on living in the bigger house someday?
No.
So you're always gonna live in that house,
Well, yeah, yes,
so the other house is a rental property?
correct.
And you don't wanna trench the power over from the one house to the other, since you own both pieces?
That wasn't an option that we talked about,
Is it feasible?
Well, it wouldn't be feasible to power both houses using like two arrays. Basically, if we installed on one house, it could maybe power, like both houses combined could maybe cover for one house. But that wasn't even the situation that was brought to us. We were just trying to power the one home.
But if you put it on both, you could potentially power both houses.
No, I'm saying if we put it on both, we could potentially power one house, but we didn't do the calculations for that because that just wasn't something we brought up.
Okay. And I see here that you're gonna be getting rid of vegetation? How much?
We'll have to clear out a little bit just for room for the array, but we'd also be willing to plant or replant any trees necessary to provide shading or screening from other properties or the street. That's something we've done a bunch. But yeah, it's not like, we're not clearing forests out, it's just like, shrubs and brushes.
Because there is concerns, there was concern that people from their second floor, they'll be able to see the panels.
Yeah, so if that is an issue, we're absolutely open to providing evergreen trees to screen so that even in the winter, they can't see, the leaves won't fall off and they won't be able to see the panels. We're totally open to working with that. But based on the pictures that we took, I mean, you have to really find specific angles to see into his back property. And we're confident we could cover those angles with proper screening.
Wouldn't that, if you put evergreens in, wouldn't that affect your solar output?
So the main properties I think that you're referencing are the ones to the north of the property. So that we don't concern ourselves with. All the panels are facing south because when they're facing north, they just don't get the same solar coverage and you just don't produce as much power. So anything to the north of the system, it doesn't affect the production.
No other questions?
How far off the ground are these?
So they get,
12 feet.
yes, they get up to 12 feet in the back and they're about 3 feet in the front. We have them tilted at about a 35-degree angle.
12 feet's top,
12 feet top, so
on the north side.
like
Yeah.
a fairly good-sized playset.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike?
All right.
So Mike, if this wasn't here for an expansion of a non-conforming use, none of this is in play.
That's correct.
Just want to make sure. Okay.
That's all?
Just want clarification.
Julie, you're up.
No questions.
William?
Is there glare that could go onto the neighbor's property?
No, all the
Like,
neighbors.
is it like a mirror? Like, if people second floor could see it, is it gonna blind them
So-
or come into their house?
So, no, one, all the panels have anti-glare coating, and two, I believe, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe all the properties that are, in the closest direct line to the panels are on the north side, so all the panels are gonna be tilted to the south, so their light's never gonna reflect into their houses. They're on the bases.
Is it the equivalent number of panels that you would put onto a roof, or is it a larger amount? Because it seems like a 12-foot high thing is kind of obtrusive.
It's a significant, it's much more panels than we could fit on the roof. We could get about 16 onto the roof, accounting for fire codes, and we'd need about 13 to meet his energy productions, so.
So this is a more panels than if a normal person with a regular roof were to just put them on there.
No.
Yeah, I mean-
The reason it's so
Use the mic,
high.
use the mic, use the mic.
The reason it's so high is because of the size of the panels. In order to get that 35-degree angle, that's why they have to be as high as they are in the back. But depending on the size of a customer's roof, and if they even have the yard space for a ground mount, sometimes we won't be able to get as many on the roof, but we typically don't try to cut their production in half, which is exactly what his roof is going to do to him.
You have 45 feet by 14.6, you got 666 square feet of solar panel in one shot on an angle 12 feet high. So that's a dimension you're dealing with out there that, you know, could possibly, you could seal off the north side of it with some ornamental evergreens.
If you had a 30 by 52 raised ranch,
Yep,
half of your roof would be about 20 by 50,
20 by 50,
half the roof.
yeah. Half the south half, you would say, right?
So that's about 1,000 square feet right there.
1,000 square feet.
Less the where you walk.
Yeah.
All the fire code stuff.
So it's like, it's in the area,
It's in the area.
yeah, it's in the area,
But
for the
you,
technology.
you could put it on the larger house and trench the power over, correct?
No, they don't have the square footage for that.
It wouldn't be enough power on the larger house.
It wouldn't be enough power?
Yeah, we just wouldn't be able to produce enough. We wouldn't be able to get enough panels to fit on the roof to produce enough power to meet his demands.
Which house is the larger house, the northerly or southerly house?
Northern.
The northerly house is where you're piping it to?
No.
No.
The southerly house.
So, yeah, we're
That's
piping
why I
to the
asked
cellar.
which one it is.
That's what the yellow
The
line
pipe is
is.
going to the bottom. half.
Yeah, that yellow line is just a estimate of where the trunk line would be,
Okay.
that we would dig out.
Yeah, so that's the house. That's
Could
a
you
lot of
put it
square footage.
between the two buildings? It looks like it would fit in between there. That way, none of the neighbors would have to see it.
And then you see it from the street.
Excuse me?
You see it from the street.
But again, I'm going to ask, over here, if this was considered not an expansion of a non-conforming use, we're not even asking any of these questions because none of them are consequential to this case.
That's correct.
Okay, I want to reiterate that again.
Right.
We have to determine if this is an expansion of a non-conforming use.
They're
If
not
we
here for
determine-
setback, they're not here for the
Correct.
location.
Right.
They're
Correct.
here because they have two houses on the lot.
Correct.
Right,
If there were one house, there'd be no discussion.
That's correct.
Zero
They
discussion.
wouldn't even be here.
right.
Right,
And they may not be here if you determine that it's not an expansion.
and that's
Because if
what's
you
in
determine
front
it's
of
not an
us.
expansion,
Right.
they don't need an area
That's the only
variance.
issue.
Is a solar panel an expansion of a non-conforming use on that land?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the only question in front of us.
Do you have an opinion on that? On that question?
I
You don't
find
have
it-
to.
I find it unfair.
Is a generator considered an expansion?
If you have a house with no electric and you put electric in it, is that an expansion of the house?
That's the problem.
The answer is no. You're not expanding that.
No.
No.
And if you have a generator,
You're not doing that either.
you're not doing it.
Nope.
But this is the board's, you have to interpret that. I can't touch that one. It's a two one-family houses.
Right.
Anything they do, they should be here unless you determine it's not an expansion of the use.
Right. The moment we determine, which is again the case in front of us, it's not an expansion of the non-conforming use, we're done.
Yep.
Everything's finished. And I don't see how a solar panel adds to the living space of a house. I just don't. I'm one board member, that's my opinion, so.
William, have anything further?
And it would just be enough power to power the one house.
The
Correct.
smaller,
You're
the
not
smaller
going to be
house.
selling it or putting it back on grid or anything like that. The
No,
energy-
the grid may store his power when he overproduces a little bit in the summer for his winter months, but it doesn't get sold back.
You good?
Yeah, so if he makes X amount of kilowatts and he only uses half of that, they'll save it. He gets credit for it, but he'll use it later, I believe is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right, thank you. Before we open it up to the public, the board did receive a letter dated April 23rd, 2024, to the members of the Carmel Zoning Board of Appeals. We, homeowners on Lakeside Road, are writing this letter to express opposition and granting the use variance submitted by Mr. Guevara on 56 Hill Street. Although we understand the ground solar panels might be a practical option from their perspective, we as neighbors bordering the property have some concerns. Firstly, the placement of panels will be in direct view not only from homes bordering the property, but also from neighbors on the opposite side of Lakeside Road. Even if a fence was put in the panels, are still something that will be seen from the second stories of the homes. The panels are just something that will be unsightly in our residential neighborhood. Secondly, we do not see how this application meets the requirements of a use variance, and then he lists the four provisions of providing a use variance. We appreciate the Guevara's right to make efficient use of their property, but unfortunately, you're not in favor of the proposed variance. Thank you, Lakeside Road homeowners. There are signatures in the back without addresses, and some of them seem to be the same last name. I see 2 Wrights and 2 McLaughlins at least. So we're not sure exactly where they're from. So we're going to open it up to the public to be heard on this now, and ask if you are a member of this letter, if you could let us know so we could just make sure what address you're from. And then also, you heard what Silvio said about what the real issue is before us. And the first paragraph of this letter, or the second paragraph regarding the panels being in direct view and being seen from second stories. Again, if this was not, if there was just one house on this property, we wouldn't even be talking about it. So who wants to speak from the public on this? Please come up.
Do you want us to like?
You can sit to the side, and you may have some questions that you can answer from them.
Well,
And-
the board's going to be direct
Yeah,
to us. Don't direct the questions to the applicants, direct the questions to us.
okay. Sir, why don't you come up and go to the mic, raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
Michael Abbott, 4 Marina Drive and 84 Lakeside Road.
Okay? You don't have to do it right now, but you'll put your name and address on there?
Well,
Let us
my
hear it.
family's had this house for over 52 years. 32 panels that are probably made in China of toxic materials, I think is outrageous. It's totally out of character. It's totally out of character for this neighborhood, and I think it sets a terrible precedent for the rest of the town. These people on Lakeside Road, all our houses, we're gonna overlook a solar farm of 32 panels. I think it's ridiculous. I think other solutions can be found, and I think it should be rejected.
Okay, thank you very much. Put your name and address down, please. Anyone else need to be heard on this? Coming up. Both mics work also, so
No, you could-
you could
Okay.
go to that one. So why don't you raise your right hand?
Okay,
Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
yes.
Okay, please state your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, so I'm Amanda Manganello, 91 Lakeside Road.
Okay?
So I was one of the signatures on the letter.
Thank you.
We were not totally sure how to do it, so somebody had said the signatures were
No
good.
worries.
Our main thing is, yes, we know it's everyone's property, they want to make efficient use, but unfortunately, the Lakeside Road, our backyards, they're not very deep. So, yes, it's their property, but it's a shared view. I actually had called the zoning department and I said, okay, how high could I put a fence? you can only do a 6-foot fence, but you're talking about 12-foot panels, and I understand there'll be vegetation. So eyesore alone is really hard. According, also some of the people on the other side of the road, they are gonna see it, the way it's set up. That's the nice thing about moving to the suburbs, is the views, being neighborly and looking at someone else's nice yard. That was really one of our big concerns. One of the other concerns from one of the other signatures was, he was a former, served on the board, and he didn't see how it met the use variance. So he said it was important to include that. I understand it's because of the two different homes, but he didn't see how it still met with the use variance, and he wanted to just bring that up and for you guys to respectively look at that.
And again, just to explain the technicality, there is no use variance in play here at all if this board determines it's not an expansion of the use of the property.
Yes.
And the use of the property that's illegal right now is it's a two-family house. If we're not expanding the living space on that house, this board by law has to vote that this is not an expansion of the use, and they can do whatever they want. And our obligation ends right there. If there was only one house on that property, they could do whatever they want. And there's no say, because our code doesn't restrict the use of solar panels. So that's what's up against this board. It has nothing to do with the looks, it has nothing to do, now, if the board determines that this is an expansion of use, then all of that comes into play. So there's really two things in play here. Is it an expansion of the use? This board will have to determine that. And then if we do determine that, then the use criteria comes into play. If we determine that it's not an expansion of the use, the application is done, they can proceed as they wish, which they would have been able to do if there was just one house on that property. So I just want to make sure you all understand that. I want to explain it, what this board is tasked to do here tonight. All right, so it has nothing to do with the look or the feel or anything else. What this board is asked to do is really make a determination, are we expanding the use of the property by putting solar panels in? That's all that's being asked of this board. And if that's yes, then the use criteria comes into play. If no, we're finished. And that's the tougher, at least to me, that's the tougher proof here. I don't know how we say a solar panel is an expansion of a non-conforming use.
We'll discuss it.
I know.
We'll figure it out.
I want to educate, so that way we're not wasting everybody's time.
Okay,
Anything further?
that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir, my friend? Raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Tom Casey, 31 Red Mills Road, Mahopac.
1 second, Ms. Casey. Ma'am?
You have to
Remember,
sign
you
in.
have to sign in
You
when
have
you're...
to sign in.
Okay. All right, Mr. Casey,
Yeah, my question to you is, are there going to be...
you have to, you actually have to
You have
ask
to
the
ask
questions
us.
to
Are the
us.
solar panels going to be in the front of the building also?
No, I
On-
believe the solar panels are
on
not in the
Hill
front.
Street
Solar panels
side?
look like they're off the
ground.
driveway,
Okay,
No, they're not in the front.
probably, off the driveway, north of the driveway.
okay. And again, my concern is, as with some other people, the solar farm down the road, just past the bowling alley in Jefferson Village there, looks hideous, but it's on a big property away from us. More of a industrial property. In our neighborhood, you don't see anything on the ground. I haven't seen anything on the ground in our neighborhood or Mahopac or Carmel. I've seen them on roofs, and I don't mind that. And most people don't. But on the ground, it's going to be 12-foot high in the backyard. I pull out of Red Mills Road onto Hill Street every day, and I'm going to be looking at 12-foot panels beyond this house. It's going to
It's
be...
203 feet from Hill Street.
How far back behind the house are they going to be?
It's 49 feet from edge of property to the north,
Okay, and from the...
not a street.
Yeah.
What we'll do, sir, is when the public is finished being heard on this, we'll ask the applicants to come up again and answer those questions.
Great,
Okay?
thanks so much.
Thank you. Anyone else want to be heard on this? Come on up. Raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, you could bend that down if you like.
You could even take it off if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Deborah McLaughlin, so Ted and Kevin
You're,
is on that
You're one
letter.
on there, thank you.
Yeah, and I'll sign that.
You'll sign later.
Our backyard at 93 Lakeside Road is literally, I don't even have a fence yet. We're new to the neighborhood, we're only here 3 years. So our backyard is, the edge of our backyard is just a bunch of rocks, and behind that is a lot of knotweed, which is probably what they're talking about when they want to get rid of the vegetation. But the property value is not a factor at all. I mean, the neighborhood is, I came to this area because of the country and the grass and the trees, and I like having a backyard. I don't have well, I do have a second floor, so I would be able to see from the deck. I would see the 12-foot things, but literally right from my bedroom window, I would be able to see the back of the panels. So I know the sightliness doesn't count, but it also lowers your property value too. And also, like, who is powering it? How safe is it? What about lithium? What about batteries leaking? These are the kinds of things that, like, I'm trying to look up, but I don't understand how it could be safe for animals and children who live next door to me.
Okay,
So,
thank you. Sir? Is there someone else? Yeah, I
No,
know.
he has to sign.
Yeah, I thought this gentleman wanted to be heard on this. You could come up to the other mic and keep it moving. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, name and address for the record, please.
Patrick O'Brien, 12 Red Mills Road, Mahopac.
Okay.
So, like the previous owners, or the previous people that spoke, I live directly across on the second floor of my house. I'll clearly be able to see the solar panels. And, 12 foot high is definitely like looking at a TV for me. So, I'm just concerned, and I understand that you're trying to power up your house, but I think, again, the vegetation, the scenery, especially in wintertime, because you see everything. So it's going to be, I'm just worried that it's going to look out of place. And that's pretty much.
Thank you very much. You could put your name and address, please. Okay. You could use that mic. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
Name and address, please.
I'm Lorraine Guevars. I actually live in
your
the
name
same property. I don't know if I should speak now or with the applicants, but anyway. First, I'd like to, I appreciate what, I can't see your name from here,
Mr. Balzano.
in educating everybody.
Doctor.
And it was also good for me to learn about this. I did not know that. And could you, one more time, say that it's a non-conformity use? Is that, did I say that correctly?
Yeah, 2 houses on 1 lot is a non-conforming use.
So,
So any expansion of a non-conforming use, if it's an expansion of the use, requires a variance from this board.
okay, this is really important information to us because we had in the past also applied for an addition to our smaller home. We did buy the property with a legal multifamily home, which is why I don't understand why can we not do anything. It's in our contract that it was a mother-daughter legal multifamily home and a cottage in which we live in. So it's important to us understand what we can or cannot do within our property. And in terms of what has been said by neighbors that they can see it from their homes and it's a shared view, I don't understand how you're sharing a view of my house. Like, are you looking into my house, into my yard? What kind of view is that? Are you like invading my privacy, looking into what's done in my backyard? Because it cannot be seen from the road unless you literally stand in the driveway and tilt your head to look past the home. And as a homeowner with a baby, I would much rather put that on top of my roof and have this space for my child to run and play than to put it on the ground. I'd much rather. we did talk to the company and other companies before this one, and it was not possible to do it on either roofs, on either houses. And I am trying to save money on energy. Both my husband and I have been facing extremely high bills from NYSEG on top of not being charged correctly, even though we had auto pay with NYSEG. They did not bill us for 3-4 months, and then they bill us this insane amount. So I'm trying to just literally get rid of NYSEG.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, does anyone else from the public want to be heard? Come on up, please. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, name and address for the record, please.
My name is Catherine O'Connor. I live at 99 Lakeside Road.
Okay,
I am directly, so yes, when I sit in my yard, I do look at your house because I have no choice. I look right, that's my house. I just wanted to give a little history of that property. Years ago, I don't know if you were on the board then, but there used to be little shacks all over the place. So the county actually foreclosed on some of those shacks, and they had to redo the whole variance of the whole thing. So the county and the town and the prior owner all worked together to work this out, that it would be a residential area and all of that unsightliness would be gone. So if we go ahead with this, I'm afraid that's gonna undo what took years to do. Also, it's watershed. Does that have any impact? There's
That's
watershed.
environmental.
it's not us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's water on both sides.
Yeah, but
If it's within 100 feet of a wetland, they will have to get a wetland permit.
So that's another thing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Please put your name and address down. Anyone else? Coming up, sir. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
Kevin McLaughlin, 93 Lakeside Road. I'm
You're
also
one
on
on
the
there.
paper.
Thank
I
you.
just want to expand on what my wife had said earlier.
Okay,
Our backyard is propped up. There's a rock wall that separates our property from theirs. And like other people have said, I can't help but look into their backyard because my backyard goes right into their backyard. Theirs comes from the main road. I'm on Lakeside Road. 12 feet high panels. I mean, I got a little bit of tree line, but that's going to be a major eyesore. And if they're allowed to put some kind of, and I totally understand. I also struggle with NYSEG. I think we all can understand that. So I don't begrudge them with that. But the fact of the matter is, you heard the people from that company who's going to be building this thing. They're going to be digging trenches. There's going to be a mess. And where they're, from what I understand from the town, they want to put it right behind the rock wall that separates my backyard from theirs. I'm going to get all kinds of garbage into our yard, and I'm probably going to be most affected by this with 12 feet high panels. And I just moved in, like my wife said, but let's just say worst case scenario, we want to move. That's going to really be a big problem for us to try to sell a house, because who's going to come into a house to look and they see that thing in the back, and it's going to lower property value. I know people who work in real estate. That's an eyesore, and certain eyesores, if that's allowed, other people might do it, and it's going to start affecting the whole town of Mahopac. And again, I don't begrudge them. I'm not here to try to give them a hard time. I'm only speaking for my own property. Sure. I have a deck in my house in the back. I'm going to be looking at that thing all the time. I have grandkids that come over. And the lithium thing, the health issue, you know, they could say how safe it is. They could say there's not going to be any glare from it. We don't know that. We don't know how they're going to build it. So it's really going to be, at least for me and my wife, a very big issue, because our backyard is going to be facing this thing. Okay. And I'd hate to see in 3-4 years I get kind of screwed because of this thing being there.
thank you. Put your name and address on the list, please. Anyone else from the public want to be heard?
Yeah, I have another question.
No, you have to come up. And the applicants, please be prepared to answer some of these questions.
Go ahead.
You could start.
You can start.
You're already under oath.
This proposal is for 32 panels. What kind of precedent does this set for the town of Carmel? What's the next proposal? 60? 75? For solar panels made in China that we don't even know the safety of? And this property directly abuts several hundred feet of city of New York water supply.
Well, you heard how
Where's-
that's going to be handled.
I understand that, but
Right.
where's the liability for the town if something happens? If these things catch fire and the water supply for New York City gets affected? These are all questions that have to be answered, you know. My family's been in this town for 80 years, and as a policy matter, this is completely out of character for this neighborhood, and I think it sets a terrible precedent, and I just don't see how in good conscience it could be authorized.
Okay, thank you. All right. Ma'am, sir? Sure. All right, so why don't we start with, why don't you get up there? Rose, why don't you ask your question right off the start?
Okay, I know it's 12 feet high. I know it's 32 panels. What are the dimensions of this?
45 feet wide by 14 and a half feet.
I mean, certainly,
666 square feet.
we had,
It's half of a house.
it's half of a house.
Yeah, it's less than half of a raised ranch.
It's the size of a cottage.
666 square
Yeah,
feet.
there are cottages that size. So we're putting something that's the size of a building on a piece of property. What is the typical number of panels used on a house?
I mean, that's kind of a hard question. Everybody has different energy demands. Everybody has different, house sizes. A family of 8 is going to use a lot more energy than a family of 4. If someone has an electric car, they're going to use a lot more energy than someone that's driving a diesel truck. So I understand what you're asking, but an average is kind of an unrealistic number to get. We've done 12-panel jobs. We've done 80-panel jobs, all for single house residential properties. So I'm sorry, I wish I could give you something more.
If I had a raised ranch,
Okay.
would I typically have 32 panels on a raised ranch?
Yeah, you could see something like that.
You'd have
You'd have
that many?
1,000 square feet. Mike went over that calculation. A typical raised ranch is about 60 feet long, or 50 to 60 feet, 30 to 40
30 by
feet
50,
wide.
just to
You
be
use the half of the house, that's it. It's about 1,000 square feet.
Is it 32 panels?
It would,
How
it
many
would, it would
panels
be
is
more
it?
panels than that,
It would be more panels than
Yeah.
that? Okay.
if it was a
I mean,
perfectly flat roof.
last month, we had a structure that was a pergola with
Right.
no side walls.
Correct.
Beautiful. And we determined that that was not a structure. This,
No.
You determined it was not an expansion of the use.
not an expansion.
And I don't mean to
Over
correct
Mike's
you, but there's-
objection.
Right, it was not an expansion, because
the
there were
use.
no
Of the use.
walls.
Of the use.
There were no walls. 45 feet by 14 and a half and 12 feet wide, 12 feet high, seems incredibly large.
2 feet at the bottom, it's on an angle.
You also said you don't live in it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you don't live here either.
Yeah.
And that
Passive.
And I'm
Yes,
I mean,
Rose,
you'll have
what's
your
in front
opportunity
of
to
us?
discuss this when we
We'll
vote.
talk about
Okay.
it.
Let's get them to
All right.
answer the rest, if there's any more questions that, do you have anything more?
Nope.
Nope.
That was
Yeah.
my.
I have one
mine was the
question.
All right.
size.
In the sake of this interesting, sensitive project for your neighbors, Mr. Guevara's, Mrs. Guevara's, would you be, able to, plant a real nice ornamental hedge of arborvitaes, giant arborvitaes on the north side? Those are going to grow up 15, 18 feet. No one's going to ever see that from that wall. If they're done properly, 2 foot on center, and you plant, 8-footers there, they'll grow right over that. You'll never see that from the sides.
Typically, we plant them 6 feet on center because they'll grow into each other and then die.
Yeah, no, we're gonna,
Oh.
you plant them, you can plant them 2 to 3 feet on center. They'll grow as a hedge.
Can I ask one more question now?
Yeah.
Sure.
I have a question about your question.
No, ma'am, please sit.
Hold on.
You already spoke, this is now their time. I know you're, I know,
She's a
I
homeowner.
understand that, but one at a time. We just can't have people grabbing mics.
All right, Mike.
The front of the unit is 3 feet off the ground, and the back is 10, you said?
12.
12, sorry.
12.
Can the front be 1 and the back be 10?
That's
We
not typically how
wouldn't
we
put
do
the
it.
front at 1, we'd keep the front at 3, but we can lower the back to 10.
There's a fix. I'm not saying it's the fix, but
Right.
it's a
Yeah,
better way.
that's definitely-
Because you're now dropping the height, which is helping the situation.
Sure, thank you. Okay,
That's a good consideration. Lower it down.
If the issue is the sightliness, the lower you're gonna get
Right,
it, but
10
and
feet.
easier to
Right.
screen, but
Right.
that's.
Right.
all right.
a question.
Anything else you guys want to add, or not?
I do. So as we talk about maybe planting some arborvitaes or maybe some green giants, is there any codes or regulations on, how tall it can be? I know you say fences can only be 6 feet. I'm not sure if there's like, with vegetation, like fencing, if there's any regulations with that.
A shrub that's planted to be a fence, it can only be 6 feet, but that would not be trees are not a shrub.
Tree, yeah.
So I'd be okay with
So
that.
if I plant some green giants 5 feet apart, by the time,
No more than 3 feet apart.
No more than
This
3
way,
feet?
yeah, because you cover that immediately then.
well,
8-foot highs,
like, I'm a contractor, so I work around landscaping a lot, and they highly recommend not planting them that close, because what happened, like she
They
was
grow and
saying,
die.
they grow into each other and they die.
But you could zigzag them, right?
So, yeah, I can stagger them, right? I can stagger them every, like, 3.5 feet.
There you go.
And
right.
get that way, or plant them 5 feet apart.
All right,
Yeah, I mean, that's
That makes
helping your
sense.
neighbors out.
Yeah.
And this board's allowed to put a condition that they have to be at least a height. You're allowed to do that, so you can allow them to be taller.
Yes,
And I don't think anybody would object to a taller buffer.
yeah.
okay.
if
Anything
that's
else?
up
Thank
to
you.
the board.
Yeah,
Is
no,
that the question that you
if I
want?
were to
I
do
don't
it the
wanna-
front of the yard too as well, it's the same thing. Okay.
Understood.
Is
Thank
there any fencing around this so children can't touch it or?
Oh, there's fencing. It's kind of broken up with trees falling and breaking them. So when I first moved into this property,
No, she's asking about this,
The
about the
structure.
array.
oh, this in the area, no, there isn't. There's just, there is some fence posts up and it's just a rock wall and that's all. That's only like 2 feet high.
Is there a danger, does it get hot where a kid's gonna get hurt?
Let's, she wants.
I don't know.
Or balls, if the ball gets thrown over there, are they gonna break them? Things like that you should think about too.
Yeah.
Well, again, I don't think it's our issue, but you could answer whatever you want to ask. and so at
So
this point-
that's not an issue that we've ever run into with, they're very durable. They're able to take, hurricanes and snowstorms and, persist through all of that. So they're built very strong. So someone coming over and breaking them, they'd have to really try. Obviously if you smash with a rock or a hammer, it's gonna happen. But I don't see any scenario where someone would accidentally break one. And in terms of them getting hot, that's also not something that we've run into. We've done hundreds of ground mounts and,
And these are all listed units
yeah,
by UL?
yes.
Yes, they have UL certifications on them.
Yeah.
And what's the lifespan of that unit, those 32 panels?
What is it, 15 years?
25 to 50.
So, yeah,
25 years?
yeah, about 25 years.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else on the board?
No.
All right, thank you. I'll take a motion.
Oh, wait, somebody else back there.
Going up.
Connor.
You're still under oath? And obviously, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, the applicants, you could go outside, close the doors so we can't hear you, and you can answer questions of these people if they have any.
Right.
I'm sure that would be something you would love to do.
Yeah, of course. No, we're absolutely willing to work with
Perfect.
all of you guys and
Thank
work
you.
with the community. We're not trying to come in here and
I
just
understand that. No, we're not saying,
destroy
I don't think anyone's saying that. All right.
Again, I'm 99 Lakeside Road. I don't have that map, but I'm wondering where in the property are these panels going? Are they going where they have their two-family rental that's rented out to 2 different families on their side of the property, or behind where they live and it'll be in their yard?
It's the north side of the driveway.
You could take a look
You can
at
take a look at either one.
someone's map here, and so take your time, all right? You have another one, come on up. We have to end this sometime, we're getting late here. I know, right? That's all right.
So Amanda, again, just one more thing. And again, I do appreciate you guys trying to make efficient use. I really do. It's just unfortunate the way our property lines are. The thing I just want to just state with the vegetation, which would be helpful, because when I first read it, I said, okay, well, what if we put a higher fence? We're always trying to grow trees. I do get it. There's a lot of land back there. It's just unfortunately all in our vision. The thing with the vegetation, which does sound great with the arborvitaes, because I did that to kind of separate from my neighbors, but we all know that 15 years, they start falling apart and they start having, little peek-through areas, and that's, you know what I'm saying? It's only a temporary solution. That's not really going to work. We have tons of, that's just the way it works.
It's going to be,
gotta be
if it's
maintained.
approved, it's going to be conditioned, and, I don't know, Mike, if we could go.
But that's kind of hard, because then, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
But,
And I
then
disagree.
what
I
is
think
that?
I think they do last forever. I've done it for 25 years, and I had no problem, so.
But
I think-
they do start to kind of shed or have gaping holes, or maybe we have deer, the deer come and pick at them. That's kind of hard to put all of that on that, and then we have to keep trying to say, hey, one of them doesn't look good.
I think you know where most of the people on this board are going on this, and we're really trying to help you.
And I appreciate that.
Okay.
I don't mean to sound,
No, I
I just
know,
wanted
I
to
know.
just state that could be a problem
I
down the line.
understand.
I do appreciate it, and I do appreciate where you guys are
And-
coming from.
and
I
we
do.
appreciate you.
It's just a hard
Thank you.
thing.
Thank you. All right. Motion?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second with Julie, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Application number 4, the application of Melvin Salazar for a variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to retain existing shed. The property is located at 138 Crane Road, Carmel, New York, and is known as tax map number 54.14-1-41. The code requires a 10-foot in the rear. What is provided is a 5-foot. The variance requested is 5 feet. Okay. Which one is Mr. Salazar? Okay, raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Melvin Salazar, and I live in 138 Crane Road, Carmel, New York, zip code
Just make sure you
10512.
speak into the microphone. 'cause
Okay.
I'm not picking up.
All right.
So,
Now, how did this come up? Did you get a ticket?
Now,
That was funny.
pretty much, I don't know, somebody think put in complaint about the little chair, but my chair is in the backyard, and it's a plastic one, it's in the air, it's not like a foundation or something like that, so. And I have a fence all around, and my neighbors, I have 2 neighbors, one in each corner, so, and they never put in complaint about it. I don't know, somebody put in complaint about it.
Is there any land that you could purchase to bring this more into conformity?
What's up?
Can you buy any land around the property to make it a less than a 5-foot variance?
No,
In the rear, is there any land that you could buy, or is that your,
no,
that's
it's,
your
I
neighbor's?
have a lot of land, so
Okay.
I can,
And the shed can't be moved at all, right? It's heavy?
no, it's a plastic
it's a
one,
prefab.
I can move it.
Isn't it on something? Isn't it on a?
It's like it's on a skid of wood. You have a little wood base for that?
Yes, it's like, those,
the pallet.
the
Pallets.
pallets, yeah, pallets in the bottom, so.
Can it be moved?
Yeah, this can move it.
How do you going to move it? What's your thoughts on that?
I can take, I use it for landscaping stuff. I can take all my landscaping stuff and I lift it and move it.
And
If you just move it 5 feet forward, you're done. You don't need any variance or anything.
You need to leave it there, like where it is.
You have to leave it there, right? That's the problem?
Yes, because I put in all my landscaping stuff in there, my
Right.
mower, all the
Okay.
showers and all that shit.
None of your neighbors have said anything, right?
No, my neighbors, they never put in complaint. I talked
Okay.
to my both neighbor, having one in each corner, and they say, I don't buy meat, so I don't know.
All right. John, you have anything?
I have no questions. That's a nice shed.
No questions.
Rose, no questions? Silvio?
No.
No.
Julie?
No questions.
William, no? Okay, thank you. Anyone from the public want to be heard on this application? Do I get a motion?
So moved.
To what?
Close the public hearing.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second from Julie. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Application number 5, the application of John Tyndall for a variation of section 156-10A, seeking a use variance for permission to retain shed, no main building. The property is located at 717 South Lake Boulevard, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 75.42-1-3. The code requires a shed as an accessory, and in this case, there is no principal use. So the variance is to allow a shed on a lot without principal use.
Good
Raise your
evening.
right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
John Tyndall, 848 Fairfield Court.
Okay, tell us what you want to do here.
Want a shed to store some of my items. We purchased the property 3 years ago. We've had some things taken from us, floats, kayaks, different material for my kids. I have 3 children, young kids. What happens at our property, the traffic light there, the traffic backs up. We have no privacy, so we're just trying to get a little privacy when my kids change to go on the boat, something like that. And everyone could see, if you stop at that light, you're looking right in our property. You could see anything we leave at night, floats, and anything in that material, kayaks, stuff there. So in the first 2 years, we've had numerous things taken, so we're just trying to have the shed there to have a little privacy and store some stuff.
All right, speak to me, Mike, on this one. So it's a shed, a standalone shed?
So it's an accessory use on a lot without a principal use.
Right.
Just like several other ones we've done over the years.
Okay.
Again, we ask if this is an expansion of a use, and
And so when it says it's for a use variance, there's an initial question that needs to be answered before we have to go that far.
is an expansion of the use.
Thank you very much. Okay. John?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm John, too.
I'm sorry, John.
How do you do, John? John, is there, that shed, I see the photos, that's 6 feet wide by 12 feet long?
That's correct.
And there's another shed on that piece of property that you have, right?
That shed was taken down when we purchased the property.
So that's no longer there?
That's no longer there.
That shed was smaller.
Yes, it was, I think, 10
Is
by
the
6.
wood bench still there in the patio?
That is not there.
That's not there?
No.
Is your wood dock still there?
Correct, yes, it is.
Okay.
There should be a picture from the street, maybe looking in.
I see you got the fence there, too.
That would
and
probably be
that's-
my neighbor's fence.
And then you have pavers coming up from the patio's paved to the
Correct.
wood dock, and then that's asphalt straight up to 6N.
To the street.
And you just want a 6 by 12 on the side there.
Yes, and we had installed actually some trees for privacy for my neighbors. I have some pictures if you want me to step up.
Do you keep a boat there?
I do.
Okay. You keep more than that, like jet skis?
Pontoon boat right now.
Pontoon, okay. All right, no further questions.
Okay, Rose?
Quick question. Michael, do we need to do anything on setbacks for this?
Well, it's up against
Should
the,
there be variances for setbacks?
it's not a principal residence.
Which one, Tyndall?
Yeah, but it's against the,
Yeah.
it's right against the
they
property
probably should
line,
have been.
basically.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that need a variance too?
Yeah, yeah, you need variances
10
for
feet's
setbacks.
required.
How close is that? Is it right against a stone wall, like right against it?
So I have a couple pictures here from my neighbor's property.
Okay.
Okay, what's your? Just go to the
So
mic, please.
where's your, that's the back of your, so that's the shed. And the trees, is that your property?
Yes.
And the porta potty, whose property is that?
That's on my neighbor's driveway. It looks like it's over there. That's on my neighbor's property.
But you have a porta potty too?
I do.
So the property line is, I'm looking at your site plan from the surveyor, that shows a stone wall in that area.
That's
The
correct.
stone wall's gone, it was just
No, stone wall is still there.
still there? And the arborvitaes that are planted there are on the other side of the wall? Where's the stone? I don't see any stone.
You'd have to look at a picture maybe from the other side. I'm not sure which pictures you have.
So it looks like you're about 3-4 feet off the property line, right?
Yes.
Not that it's on here, but you're 6 feet wide, the
Yeah.
shed.
Correct.
Is that scaled? 1 inch is 10 feet. You're about 3 feet away from the property line. That needs to be 10 feet away, Mike?
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this has to be
It's a
reactivated.
side yard
It's a
setback.
variance of 7 feet?
Yeah, you need to come back next month.
10 foot's required, 2 feet side I have.
You got 2 feet? Okay.
So basically, just so you know what we're doing here, you have an application, but the application needs to be amended.
It's incomplete.
Okay.
So we're going to, Mike is going to walk you through it. Does he have to reapply?
Yes.
And you have to what's the word I'm looking?
Re-advertise.
Re-advertise as well. Yeah, so that's got to be done.
Okay.
All right? So, I mean, it's a delay, but we'll try to
And
get it
It's going to be a
right.
new application.
We'll try to
Yeah.
get it right.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
otherwise you'll have trouble.
So would this be a holdover, or would this be a
Dismiss without
dismiss?
prejudice.
You're gonna hold it over, but he's gonna have to renotice it. It's gonna be the same application with the amendment. He'll initial it in my office, we'll get it all taken care of.
So we'll hold over it without a date?
That was my bad, yes. I
Okay.
should have picked
All
up
right,
on the.
no worries. Rose picked it up. I was going to ask, but I let her take all the credit. All right, so what we'll do is we'll hold this over. We'll have to pick a new date somewhere down the road. I'm not sure when that's going to be, but Mike will help you out.
We'll get you.
All
You
right?
got it. Okay.
All right, so can I get a motion?
Motion to hold this over?
Second?
Second from Rose, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night. Application number 6, application of Brian Truhaft for a variation of section 156-15, seeking a variance for permission to arrange shed 12 by 16. The property is located at 137 Chestnut Ridge Road, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 43.17-1-20. The code requires 15-foot side. What is provided is 6.6 or 6.5, no, 6.6, 6 feet 6 inches. Variance required is 8 foot 4 inches. Raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Brian Truhaft, address gonna be 137 Chestnut Ridge Road, Mahopac, New York.
Okay, so tell us what you have to do here.
So I purchased the house in 2019. To make the purchase of the house, the gentleman before me kind of just dumped the shed in the middle of my property. And it was a really big eyesore. It was actually on like stilts. And, happy wife, happy life. The summer after that, I kind of removed it in the back corner where it is on the map. And I thought it only had to be 5 feet from my property line. I didn't realize the size of the shed was bigger than what it was for. It was not 5 feet, and I guess it's 15. It is a hall to move, and that location is kind of the safest location. It's the flattest of my yard. My yard does angle towards my house on a hill. There's also a little embankment to the left of it. I may have like 2 feet to the left where like there's a stump, and then it's kind of like a oval-shaped embankment that drops down maybe 3.5, 4 feet that I would need to do, if I moved it there, I have to do another, put on like another stilt, and I don't know if that's safe over there to do that. I just keep basic things in there, just, lawnmower stuff, just house, storage. I've never had a complaint from a neighbor. My neighbor actually that's closest to on that side. I tried getting him to do a letter. He just has 3 red racks and runs around and never has a chance to write me a letter to say he's okay with it.
Okay.
That's really.
Is there any property that you could purchase to bring it more in conformity?
No.
And you said it would be a hall to move and really not a good place elsewhere
Yeah,
than
it would
that?
be on like an embankment, and then it's more, my house, the yard, it runs more of an incline to the left, which would be moving it away from my property line
Okay.
to follow that 15 feet. So it'd be more, it is very hard to move. It's very big.
All right. Thank you. John, any questions?
No, Mr. Truhoff, that's uneven property back there. I see you leveled it, you had to put in stairs, ladders to make it look right.
Yeah.
I have no further questions.
Okay, Rose?
No questions.
Silvio?
No questions.
Julie?
No.
William? No? Okay. Does anyone from the public want to be heard on this application? If not, I'll wait for a motion.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Second by Rose, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Application number 7, application of estate of Catherine O'Connor for a variation of section 156-15, seeking a use variance for permission to retain an existing shed, no principal use. The property is located at 200 East Lake Boulevard, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 65.17-1-3. Code requires a shed accessory to a principal use. What is provided is shed without principal use. The variance requested is allow an accessory use without a principal use. Code also requires a 20-foot side. What is provided is 0, and the variance required is 20 feet. Who's going to be doing the talking?
I will.
Okay, you raise your right hand. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Alex O'Connor, 197 East Lake Boulevard, Mahopac, New York.
Okay, so tell us, how did this come up?
We got a letter,
Okay.
said we had to do something about the positioning of the shed.
Usually how it starts. Okay, you've heard something similar earlier.
Correct.
But they have
They
their
have a setback
setbacks.
on there.
They have setback, which is
Yeah.
different. All right, so looking at this, is there any other property that you could buy to put this more in use?
No,
Can this be moved easily?
no, it's been there for almost 100 years, if not more.
Okay,
Wow. Okay.
all right.
It's in good shape.
You probably should sign in only because of the way this is addressed.
Yeah, I
Okay.
would agree.
When we're done.
Okay. All right, John, you have any questions?
No, that's the only shed that seems to be on that parcel.
Correct.
There's only the one.
Yep.
I have no further questions.
Rose?
No questions.
Silvio?
No questions.
Julie?
No.
William?
No questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone from the public want to be heard on this application? I'll wait for a motion.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Second by Julie, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Application number 8, application of Patrick Murphy for a variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to retain legalized existing shed. This property is located at 16 Lindy Drive, Carmel, New York, and is known as tax map number 55.13-1-9. The code requires 10 feet to the side. What is provided is 5 feet. The variance requested is 5. The code requires 10 feet to the rear. What is provided is 3 feet. The variance requested is 7 feet. Raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, state your name and address for the record, please.
Stephen Yakimitz, 16 Lindy Drive, Carmel, New York.
Okay, so you are not Patrick Murphy. How are you related to Patrick Murphy?
Son-in-law.
Okay. All right.
You can raise that up a little bit so you don't have to keep bending down.
So how did you, why are you before us? What happened?
Because I submitted the application because he's a snowbird and he was still in the Carolinas.
Okay.
So since I started it, I'm finishing it.
All right, good. All right, so is there any land that you could buy to make this more in conformity?
No.
All right. Any complaints from any of your neighbors?
No, I have letters from both neighbors, and that shed's been there longer than they've owned their houses.
Yeah, they are part of it. Just so the record shows, we have a letter from William Trabulski, 20 Lindy Drive, Diane Trabulski, 20 Lindy Drive, and Sarah Barone of 18 Lindy Drive in Carmel. And it's a pretty big shed. It'd be almost impossible to move, right?
I don't think I'd be picking it up.
Okay. All right. John, you have any questions?
Are you putting a new roof on that?
I was going to last fall, and then this all started.
I see it there. No further questions.
Rose?
How old is the shed?
Older than me, I was told.
Okay. And there was a little shed in the front. Who owns that?
That's actually, the story I was told is that used to sit over the pool filter, and then they realized it actually makes it noisier, so then it went there, and my wife and her brother played in that as children, and it's just kind of been sitting there since.
I don't know if that needs a variance, believe it or not.
Which,
It's basically like an oversized doghouse.
It's a little, how big is
It's
it?
kind of little.
I'm gonna say like this tall.
We don't do playhouses.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right,
All
that's
right.
it.
Silvio?
Nope.
Julie?
Nope.
William?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone from the public want to be heard on this application? Can I get a motion?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second?
Second from Rose, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, application number 9. Number 9. Application of Sheldon and Lori Ginsburg for a variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to replace deteriorating wood fence in front of house on South Lake Boulevard with PVC fence of same size, replace the wood. The property is located at 795 South Lake Boulevard, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 75.43-1-16. The code allows a 4-foot fence in the front yard. What is provided is a 6-foot fence. The variance requested is 2 feet. Raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Sheldon Ginsburg, 795 South Lake Boulevard.
All right, Mr. Ginsburg, tell us what's going on here.
Well, we purchased this home about 3 years ago. In front of the home, there is a brick fence about 2 feet tall. And above the brick fence, there is a wooden fence, existing wooden fence, about 4 feet tall. It was deteriorating when we bought the home 3 years ago. It's only gotten worse, and it's not repairable. It's an eyesore, it's falling down, it's a hazard. The reason we want to replace it with a like kind of fence, meaning a 4-foot fence, is because it's South Lake Boulevard. And I think, as we all know, it's a thoroughfare. It's loud, it's noisy, there's garbage that falls out of people's cars. And just for safety reasons, we would like to replace this 4-foot fence with the same 4-foot fence.
Okay. Was there a prior decision on this fence?
There was a house right next to him that we had very
Right
Yeah, the
ne-
neighbor had one.
Right next
Yes.
door.
Neighbor.
Last month.
But even for this property, is there one also?
We've had two
No, not
decisions
this
with
one.
them.
Something else.
Well,
wasn't
I'm
it?
looking at the
Yeah.
zoning,
No,
there was a
this
zoning.
time last year,
Yeah,
we
I
came
understand.
before the board, and
For the
seeking a
walkway and
variance
the,
for steps that we will build.
These steps.
Right.
Yeah, please use the mic, please.
My
No,
apologies.
I'm looking back in October 2004.
All the way back.
The existing fence shall be scaled back on the front property line 15 feet off the perpendicular edge of the side porch going east along the same front line and scale it down to 4 feet.
Rose, you were on the board at that point. You remember that case?
I'm just, was there, so we don't have a prior decision based on the fence that was there that's being removed?
It was
Mike?
granted.
Was there the fence that was there originally that they're replacing, was there
Nothing.
nothing on that? Okay.
Nothing I ever saw. That's why
Okay.
they're here. If
All right.
we had a variance, they wouldn't be back.
All right, very good.
That's why
All right,
I couldn't find anything in the files.
very good. John, any questions?
That brick stays, right?
We're not changing the brick wall. Only the wooden fence above it is coming down.
Right.
Being replaced with a PVC fence.
Brick's okay.
Bricks are okay.
Brick's okay.
No further
I
questions.
thought maybe you were changing the stone, because everybody along that line seems to be using the same stonework. So I was hoping you were gonna be consistent with everybody else.
Well, in fact, the wall in front of the home, half of it is brick, maybe about 100 feet.
Right.
And the rest of it is the same stonework that you're referring to.
Right.
This property is an amalgamation of 2 properties, going back maybe 70 or 80 years. So there are 2 different stone fences in the front.
Right, right. I was hoping it'd be the same, so the whole strip would look beautiful.
It still looks good.
It's gonna look nice
It's
anyway.
Still looks good.
We'll consider that when we get stop signs or traffic lights or some other.
That's fine.
Not the sport.
That's a state road.
Yeah.
Not the sport.
All right, you ready? Yours, ready?
I'm done.
Okay, Silvio?
No.
Julie?
Nope.
No questions.
William? No questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very
Anyone from the public want to be heard on this application? If not, can I get a motion?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second?
Second for Rose, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Application number 10, application of Philip Lepore for for a variation of Section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to extend deadline on granted variance to allow for planting shrubs, retained shed. The property is located at 28 Cross Hill Road, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 74.42-1-69. Regarding the shed, there is a requirement for a 10-foot side. What is provided is 2 feet. The variance requested is 8 feet. There's a 10-foot rear requirement. What is provided is 2.1 feet. The variance required is 7.9 feet.
Can I interrupt to just tell you what's going on real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
You want to do that first?
No, you could do it.
The timeframes ran out.
So we already.
You put a timeframe because it was taking long and the neighbors were complaining about it?
Right.
He's here for that, but go ahead. do
So
your
we
part,
already
I'm sorry.
approved it. He didn't get it done in time. Now he's just looking for an extension,
Correct.
basically.
And
All
I
right.
believe the pod is removed from the property now, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, state your name for the record, please.
Philip Lepore, 28 Cross Hill Road.
So you heard what Mike had to say. So basically, you were here before us before.
I was.
We gave you a variance at that time.
You
You're
did.
looking for an extension.
Yes.
Okay. Is the extension something that is,
I just need,
Modify the condition to
So-
give him another year or
Another
6
year?
months
Okay.
or 4 weeks, but how close are you? You gonna plant this spring?
yes,
So give him 3 months.
3 months?
3 months.
Could you do it in 3 months?
I can.
Okay, well, all right, so what we're going to do is we'll grant, we'll discuss it, but if we do grant, it'll be a, you'll need to have it done in 3 months, so you'll be back again.
Okay.
All right? All right, John, have any questions?
Nope, just,
Rose?
you're gonna get it done.
I will.
Quick question. That little shed on the left, that's not yours? I don't know if we asked about it before.
I don't know what shed you're talking about.
Right up here. This is your property? So this shed isn't yours? In the very back corner?
That's not on my property.
That was my question. That's not your property?
Okay. All right. All right, go back to the mic, please.
Yeah, otherwise we can't hear you.
Okay, Silvio, anything?
Nope.
Julie?
No.
William?
No questions.
Okay. Does anyone from the public want to be heard in this application? Can I get a motion?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second by Julie, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Last but certainly not least, Mr. Greenberg, application number 11, application of Deborah Brudhaj Johnson for a variation of section 156-15, seeking narrow variance for permission to rebuild the deck. The property is located at 26 Toplin Road, Mahopac, New York, and is known as tax map number 74.34-1-1. The code requires 10-foot side yard. What is provided is 7.9. The variance required is 2.1 feet. Raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your name and address for the record, my friend.
Joel Greenberg, 2 Muscoot Road North, Mahopac, New York.
All right, what are we doing?
What we're doing basically, as you said in your opening statement. and I-
Joel, just grab the mic, because I already hear you
Come
fading
on,
off.
you know this by now.
Come on, you're every.
I know, that's my downfall. Anyway, what I did is basically, the blue area here is what's the existing deck, and the yellow area here is the new deck. And all we're asking is just to line it up with the house, just as the old deck is. I think if you've been to the property, I took some pictures. This is the old deck over here. There is a plastic fence along here. There's tall evergreens over here, so there's plenty of screening on it. This is a picture of the old deck, if you haven't been out there to see it. And here's a picture of the evergreens growing. But it's shielded very well, and we're not asking to get any closer. We're just asking to line it up as the existing deck is.
Okay, I mean, there's no property that the applicant could purchase to bring this into conformance?
No, Con Ed's behind us, and there are houses on either side of us.
Okay. For the record, there was a letter given to the zoning board dated April 23rd, 2024, in favor from, I can't read the first name, but the last name is
It's
Diaz?
Carmen Diaz.
Carmen Diaz, and he's the
And that-
neighbor to the left. She does not have
And
an
the Carmen
address
Diaz is on the other side of this fence here.
of the
Right
fence
there.
in the photo. Okay, thank you. John, any questions?
No further questions.
Rose?
No questions.
Silvio?
No questions?
Julie?
No.
William?
No questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Does
you.
anyone from the public want to be heard on this?
No.
I'll look for a motion.
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Second by Rose, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. You pushing through?
Yeah, let's just do it.
All right. All right, so all the public hearings are held, they're now closed, and we will adjudicate. Application number 1, application of Robert Altero is a holdover.
Yes.
Application 2, application of Thomas Simone, or Simone.
Motion to grant,
As amended.
as amended, sorry, yes, as amended. No, Simone? Was it?
Not Simone.
Simone has a two-family house.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I'm sorry. So, back up.
All right, give us another motion.
Give me, sorry. I withdraw my motion. Go ahead, Rose. You have
Motion is
this better than I
withdrawn.
did. I forgot about that part of it.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you go, you go. You don't want to do it?
No.
Okay, so the first motion then should be motion to note that this is not a expansion of a non-conforming use. Not elegant,
Or-
but effective. That's my motion.
Second.
Second by Rose. We want to discuss this? Go for it. Your motion.
No, I just, again, it's not really living space, it's more about the deck, so I'm okay with what's going on here as proposed.
Okay. Anyone else want to be heard on this? All right, so let's take a roll call on this motion. John?
I'm for the motion, not
Rose?
an extension.
Rose?
For the motion.
Silvio?
For the motion.
Julie?
For.
William?
For.
And I'm for the motion as well.
So now I'll make a second motion? Yeah,
Right.
right. Motion to grant the area variances as requested.
To 0.
To
Amended.
zero, as amended to 0. That's right. I keep forgetting he amended. I didn't write
Yeah.
it down.
Second.
We got a second by Rose. Do we want to go roll call? All in favor? Aye. Aye, very good. All right, application number 3. Application of Joseph Guevarez. Can I get a motion?
Motion that the solar array is not an extension of a non-conforming use.
Expansion.
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 Expansion. It's
Okay.
getting late.
Can I get a second?
Second that.
Second by John. All right, you want to take it?
Again,
Professor?
it's not living space. It is what it is. This would normally be permitted if there wasn't that second house on the property. This has nothing to do with what's going on here. It's not an expansion of living space, so that's the way I read this.
Anyone else want to be heard?
I find that the size of this is a little overwhelming. It's the size of a house, a cottage, 600 square feet. So for me, I have an issue with this. If everyone else feels the same way, I think, Silvio, you have to add on something about the condition about the,
Well, I think we have one, we have
I
to do
can't
that one
condition
question.
that. I
Yeah,
can't condition that.
We have to do the one question first.
No,
Okay.
because I'm interpreting it's not an expansion of the use, so he would be allowed to do it, no matter what. I get what you're saying, and while I'm not in favor of the eyesore that it is, if that second house was in there, he could put 25,000 panels in there as long as he meets the setbacks,
but it is,
because that's
there
allowed by
are two
code.
houses on there.
There
And-
are.
And when you have two houses on there, and you're putting such a large structure, I think that you have to consider interpreting this as an expansion, because it's not a small thing. I believe that you are expanding the use when you put in something as large as it is. But that, I'm only one vote, so.
that's fair.
Absolutely.
That's fair.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else want to be heard on it? Okay, so what we'll do is take a roll call, and the question is,
I want to add something,
Sure.
Chairman Phil. This structure at 666 square feet, you know, to the north, it needs to have, provide some visual shrubbery, evergreen for, you know, to help your neighbors to the north. And, you know, if that could somehow be included in this condition.
Is
You
what's
can't-
on the
you
table
can't
right
include
now.
that.
Yeah, we
Right
can't.
now, what's on the
You
table.
can't condition what
Is
we're
this an
proposing.
expansion of the use of a two one-family dwellings on the lot?
No.
Is all that, and I'm not telling you how to vote, I'm just telling you,
Yeah.
that's
Right.
what's here. We
That's
all
what has
agree
to be
the trees,
taken
but
on.
you can't
This is-
interpret with
yeah.
trees.
I
Okay,
think
I'm
the
sorry.
applicant,
And I'm
the
not-
applicant has heard us. It's just not going to be in written form. It's
Won't
not
be
gonna
in written.
something that they're gonna have to force.
I'm for the motion that it's not an expansion of the non-conforming use.
I guess you start taking a vote.
Okay, anyone else want to be heard before we vote? All right. So, John, on the motion,
Motion for not an
it
expansion.
would be motion 4 would be the right,
A motion for,
okay.
motion for.
Okay, Rose?
Against.
Okay, Silvio?
4.
Julie?
4.
William?
4.
And I'm 4 also, passes. Take care, have a good night. Application of Melvin Salazar, can I get a motion?
Motion to grant?
Second.
Second by Rose, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 5, Mr. Tyndale is held over. Application 6, Brian Truhaft, can I get a motion?
Motion to grant.
Motion to grant by John.
Second.
Seconded by Silvio. All in favor?
Aye.
Application in the estate of Catherine O'Connor.
Motion to grant.
Hold
Wait
on,
a second.
Hold on.
We gotta do it again.
We gotta, no, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Motion that this is not an expansion of a non-conforming use.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Julie.
Otherwise, you have to go through use criteria if we do that, if we don't do that.
Right. So, anyone want to be heard on it? You want to just?
No.
No? All right, we'll do a roll call just in case. John?
For the motion.
Rose?
For the motion.
Silvio?
For the motion.
Julie?
4.
William?
4.
And I'm for the motion as well. All right. Number 8, the application of Patrick Murphy. Oh, you're right, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion to grant the area variance?
And, yeah, that's 20 feet. Seconded by Julie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, sorry. Application of Patrick Murphy, number 8. Can I get a motion?
Motion to grant. Sorry, John.
That's good.
John, you want a second?
A second.
Seconded by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Application number 9, Sheldon and Lori Ginsburg. Can I get a motion?
Motion to grant.
Seconded by
Second.
Silvio. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Application of Phil Lepore to,
Motion to grant a 3-month
you.
extension
okay,
to the existing,
Extent,
Approval.
yeah, 3 months.
from today.
today.
3 months from today.
can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Julie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the application of Deborah Budhaj Johnson. Can I get a motion?
Motion to grant?
Second.
Second by Julie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion
That's
to
it.
adjourn?
Motion to adjourn is granted without objection.
Second.
No minutes.
No minutes.
No minutes.
See you in May, everybody.
May, 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 the day.